Alright guys, so we're going to start this flow in a tall kneeling position, really focusing more so on the upper extremities. So what we're going to start with, neck rotations. So we want to make sure that we create tension from the legs, through the abdomen, through our whole body, so that nothing else moves besides the joint you want to move from. So from here, I'm going to start, arms are going to be at my side. I'm going to go into flexion, so I'm going to bring my chin all the way down to my chest as far as I can. From here, I'm going to think about rolling to my left. So keeping my chin down, I'm going to turn my head to my left shoulder. From here, I'm going to open up, bring my head into a more vertical position. Now think about drawing a large circle. Chin goes up towards the ceiling. Roll around. Trying to bring your head back as far as you can. Around to the other shoulder. Roll it around. Through the chest. Back up to that standing position. From here, we're going to do the same thing to the right side now. So go into that cervical flexion, chin down to the chest. Rolling across my chest to my right shoulder, keeping my head down. Open up, making that circle as big as I can. Back to the middle, and up. We're going to do 2 more times with the neck. So down to the chest. Making sure we take our time here. We're not rushing through these movements. One more time, making sure we take our time, keeping our tongue rooted to the top of my mouth. Mouth is also closed. Think about molar on molar. So teeth are together while we do this. Remember, we stay in an area that is pain-free. If you feel any type of discomfort, make that circle a lot smaller, just so we stay pain-free. Next one, we're going to come out to the side. You want to think arm is going to be angled about 45 degrees away from our midline. From here, we're just going to go with rotations. So you want to think about rotating the bicep, not the actual hand. Because if I rotate my hand, that rest of the arm does not actually have to move. So we're going to go out with both hands. So making sure that we stay tight through the rest of our body. Abs are contracted. We're going to rotate bicep around as much as we can, trying to get as much internal rotation as we can. Once we hit our end point, going to externally rotate out, trying to turn that bicep as much as we can. Good. Meanwhile, creating that tension through the rest of our body, making sure that nothing else moves except at the shoulders. Sure we take these rotations nice and slow. We don't want to rush through them. One more time, internally rotate, trying to turn the bicep as much as you can. The more you can turn the bicep, the more rotation you'll actually get at the shoulder. Good. Keeping our arms in that same area, now we're going to go with some scap rotations. So it's just, we're going to see shrugging, reaching out to the wall in front of us, depressing the shoulders down, then trying to pull our shoulder blades back without getting flexion from the elbow or any type of wrist. All right, so we're starting out here. We're going to go in both directions. So starting off with a shrug, we're going to bring our shoulders up to our ears as high as we can. From here, we're going to reach our hands out to the walls. Then we're going to depress the shoulders down, trying to almost put our scaps in our back pocket. Then pull the shoulders back, pretend you're trying to squeeze a quarter between your shoulder blades. Then we go back into that shrug. We're going to continue to make those circles nice and controlled. You can either go with hands open or you can close the fist if you want to create more tension. Making sure we're not getting movement from the rib cage or leading with our hips. All right, now we're going to go in the opposite direction. We're going to go another 3 rotations. Reaching those hands to the wall. Draw the shoulders up towards the ears. Pull them back. Down towards the back pocket. Push out towards the wall. We're going to continue to make those circles, taking those nice and slow. One more time. Good. Next thing, we're going to go again with those shoulder rotations, except now, instead of that 45-degree angle, we're going to come directly out to the side. So hands are going to reach to the walls. From here, we're still rotating that bicep as much as we can. Bring it in. Then we're going to externally rotate. Biceps toward the ceiling as much as we can get. Good. Then from there. Good. Keep turning the biceps. Nice and controlled, making sure we don't rush through these rotations. Good, nice job. Next, we're going to go 90 degrees on both shoulders. Palms are going to be facing each other. From here, we're going to alternate internal rotation on one side, external rotation on the other side, and then just kind of flip back and forth through that, okay? We're gonna make sure we take these nice and slow. Again, we're not rushing through it. So starting here, I'm gonna have my left arm move into internal rotation first. Right arm's gonna go external rotation. So coming up, taking it nice and slow, trying to get as much range of motion as we can out of that. As you can see, I have a lot more internal rotation than external rotation. Might be slightly different for you. Once you hit that end range, pause for a sec. Same thing to the other side. Good, making sure we're keeping our shoulders controlled. We're not letting them pitch too far forward. Still creating tension through the rest of our body. Making sure we're not moving from anywhere else. Good. Also make sure we pause at that end range, so the second we feel like our arm can't go anymore, we're still activating, trying to push that further and further each and every time. I go one more time on each side. Good, nice job. Shake the arms out a little bit, let them move around. Next, we're going to do the same thing, except with instead of our palms facing each other, we're going to go palms facing away from us. All right, same motion though. I'm going to lead with my right hand this time, going into internal. Left arm's going to go into external. So here, one comes down. Good. Making sure we take our time on these rotations, okay? We don't want to rush through them. on each side. Good, nice job. Right. Next thing we're doing, we're going to actually sit back onto our heels a little bit more. We're going with our swimmers. So we're going to work one arm at a time. The motion for this, we start, hand is going to be behind our back to start. First action is going to be to lift the hand far away from our back without letting our shoulder pitch forward too much. We're going to try to fight to keep that shoulder retracted. So I lift the hand off of my back. Next thing I'm doing is I'm extending my elbow out so that my arm is now straight. From here, I'm going to lift out to the side. Goal is to get the arm as close to being parallel with the shoulder as I can. All right, from this position, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into that shoulder rotation again that we were working on. So from this position, rotating the bicep as much as I can, trying to get that palm facing forward, keeping that shoulder back. Then I'm going to bring it up towards my head. Once I get up as far as I can go into flexion, I'm going to bend the elbow, try to bring that hand right behind my head. If you need to take a pause here, you can do that. Going back, I'm going to lift my hand off of my head as much as I can, keeping that shoulder blade pitched back, still controlling my ribs in my midsection, extending the elbow out, going to bring my arm down. Once I get parallel with the shoulder, I'm going to internally rotate, trying to turn that bicep back down towards the floor, bring it down closer to my side, and then bend the elbow. Hand should not be touching the back yet, and then I relax. Let the hand touch my back, okay? So we're going to do that 3 times on both sides. So since I already started with the left, I'm going to keep leading with that. So from here, I'm out to the side, extending my elbow, abduct, rotate as much as I can, continue to come up. Hand goes behind the head. Again, going the opposite way, lift that hand up away from my head, extend my arm back, down to parallel with the shoulder, internally rotate, bring it behind my back. Okay, we're going to do one more time on the side. Lift, extend the elbow, raise, rotate, make sure we control that rotation at the shoulder, continue to come up, hand goes behind the head, rest, lift the hand off, extend the elbow, down, parallel with the shoulder, and internally rotate as much as we can, continue to come down, bend the elbow, rest on your back. Okay, same thing to the other side. From here, hands behind the back, trying to keep that shoulder nice and controlled, lift, extend the elbow, out to the side, begin to rotate as much as we can. Arm continues to come up, hand behind the head, rest. Hand off, extend the arm, parallel with the shoulder, rotate as much as we can, bring it down, hand behind the back, rest. We're going to go 2 more times. Lift, extend, raise, rotate. Good. Keep going. Good. One more time. Behind the head. Good. Rest. Lift off. Extend the arm. Parallel. Rotate. Elbow. Behind the back. Good. Now we're going to do the same thing. We have both arms now. So we're starting. Hands are going to be behind our back. Same action, we're just doing both arms at the same time instead of just one. So we want to make sure we control our ribs, midsection's tight, engaging our glutes. Legs are also creating tension. so that we don't move anything else but at the shoulders, okay? So we lift both hands up off the back, extend both elbows, raise, rotate, palms should be facing forward, continue to pull those shoulders back, arms go up, both hands go behind the head. You can rest there if we need to. Engage again, shoulders are back, pulling those elbows back to the wall behind us. Extend both elbows, parallel with the shoulders, internally rotate as much as we can, bring them down, bend the elbows, hands go behind the back. Rest. We're going to do this 2 more times. So we lift, extend, raise, rotate, raise, bend the elbows, hands behind the head. Same thing from here, abs are tight, lift, extend, bring them down, rotate, and down, hands behind the back, rest. 1 more time, lift, extend, raise, rotate, raise, behind the head, rest, retract everything reaching to that wall behind you, extend, rotate, behind the back. Nice job. Last thing we're going to do on this flow, just a normal shoulder rotation. From here, staying in that tall kneeling position, we're going to go thumb up. We want to think about our thumb leading the motion for a lot of this, okay? So the first action here is we raise the arm straight up in front of us, going as high as we can. Some people may be able to only get here. Some of you may be able to get all the way up overhead. Most important thing is that we keep that elbow straight and we don't shrug the shoulder next to our ear. We want to keep that shoulder down, packed in. So we're raising that arm high as we can. This is as high as I can get. Once you hit that in range, we're going to start to rotate. So we want to, again, turn that bicep, not turning from the wrist. So we turn the bicep around as much as we can. Thumb should now be facing the opposite direction that it was. From here, I'm going to continue making that circle. The goal is to move only from the shoulder. I don't want to rotate my torso as I'm coming around. So that thumb's going to be facing forward. Continue to bring that arm around in the circle. Every time I hit a block, I'm going to continue to rotate. Okay, so we're still rotating that same direction, so internally rotating the whole time through this one. So thumb's facing forward, I hit another block. I continue to rotate around, continuing to keep my shoulder packed in. Make that full rotation, draw a huge circle. Hand should end with that thumb facing the wall behind me as opposed to starting forward this way. From here, we're going to go backwards. Backwards is generally a little bit harder because you're kind of locked into this spot. So we want to make sure we're keeping our shoulder locked in. I'm not letting the humeral head pitch forward. I want to stay tall and I'm not slouching when I do this either. So, shoulder is packed in. I'm going to reach the thumb to the wall behind me. Once I hit a block, I'm going to start now to rotate in the opposite direction. So externally rotate, around, continue to make that circle. Once I hit a block again, I'm going to continue to rotate, bring it around. Goal is to get flexion as much as I can get, and then here, bring it down, back to my sides. Okay, we're going to do this 2 more times on this side. So here, watch my hand. I go up into flexion, keeping my arm as straight as I can. Once I hit that in range where I feel like I can't go anymore, internally rotate, continue to make the circle. As we rotate, drawing as big a circle as we can. Hand back to our side. Now go in the opposite direction. Reach that wall behind you, continue to make that circle. Keeping that shoulder nice and packed in, arm is straight, abs are tight. I'm also squeezing my butt to try not to move from anywhere else. We're going to go 1 more time on this side. So reach up, rotate around. Make sure we take our time with this. We don't want to rush through it. Good. Going backwards now, reach that wall behind us, externally rotate, continue to make that circle every time we feel a block. Good. Now switching to the other side, we're doing the exact same thing. So here, leading with the thumb, staying nice and tall, I'm engaging my butt and my abs are engaged. I go up, flexion as much as I can, internally rotate when I start to hit that block, continue to make that circle. Goal is to remain facing forward without any type of rotation. Bring it down, keeping that shoulder packed in. Reach the wall behind me. There, we want to make sure we take our time through our rotations. That's where we get that increased mobility at for this joint. If we rush through the rotations, we're missing out on a large benefit to doing this. Good. Controlling my shoulder. Nice. Remember, also with this, we want to stay in an area that's pain-free. You feel like you're going up, this part starts to hurt, just drop your arm down and you can still continue to go with the same motion, okay? So we're going to do this last time on this one, so I'm going up. Reaching around, continue to rotate. Good. I also like to use my opposite hand to make sure that I'm correct with the shoulder position, and I'm not cheating by letting myself dip my shoulder forward. Good, and rest. Nice job.